Alright, welcome back pre-calc students. This is video 2 of the completing the unit circle with the right triangles we talked about yesterday. Some of the calculations we did yesterday are still sitting over here. Our 30, 60, 90 right triangle and our 45, 45, 90 triangle. And remember, I set the hypotenuse to be 1 because that's going to represent something to do with the radius over here in this unit circle. What I'm going to be showing you in this segment is how those two triangles have something to do with this circle. And I'll probably make a third video to like fill in all the gaps. Otherwise the videos just get too long for one sitting. But anyway, so we're going to, yesterday I had said we were going to pick up with having the 30, 60, 90 triangle placed right here. But something else came to my mind. I said before I do that with the group, I want to talk about something else. Sorry, I'm just going to adjust this camera a little bit. There we go. Anyway, so I actually have added all the dots to the circle, but I'll explain where they came from, and we're going to do a lot more to them than just, oh, here's these dots. I want to first remind you, up here in the upper left-hand corner of this board is the definition of unit circle. So a circle's got center 0, 0 and radius of 1. So again, I really want you to remember the whole time I'm talking, and I will remind you, there's an x-axis here, y-axis here. This graph is on the coordinate plane. So we're going to be talking about the coordinates of these points here soon. And I want you thinking about where are those points with respect to this origin. How far right and up, or how far left and up, left and down, right and down. Like where are they with respect to this origin? Now, what I first want to talk about, if you can kind of see the colors, probably can see it better on a computer screen than a little phone. The points I put in black. They're here, 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 and here. Those are very kind of special points that I can just do without these triangles that we talked about yesterday. So I want you to think about, if the radius of this circle is 1, from this origin straight to the right to this point, that's a length of 1. That makes this point instantly 1, 0. 1 space to the right, 0 spaces up. And you guys, that's the beginning of the unit circle, so we call that 0 degrees. Okay? So keeping that concept with all these black dots, there's 3 more. This one up here, since it is 1 up from the origin, it would make sense that that is 0, 1. And that's at the 90 degree spot. And I think that's pretty, self-explanatory to you guys. That's 90 degree right there, rotation. Keep on over here. That's directly 1 left of the origin. So we would call that point -1, 0, 180 degrees. That's halfway around the circle. Down here, 1 directly below the origin. I'm going to squeeze that point in here. That's 0, -1. And that's another 90 degrees after the 180, so that's 270 degrees. Now, if we keep going back to this point, we're not going to label it 1, 0 again, but it is 360 degrees now. So there's those black points, and again I got them color-coded black, blue, and red, so I can talk about them. Now, let's talk about this triangle. That's the 30, 60, 90 one from here. Let's remember that this side is 1/2. This side is square root of 3/2. Hypotenuse is 1. Yesterday, I had placed that, when I left the second video, or the first video, I had placed that right about here. 30-degree angle right at the origin. The hypotenuse acts like your radius, so that's how it fits really nicely in here. And I put this blue dot right here, and I left that there yesterday when I made that other video. Now, we're going to talk about the coordinates of this point. And the triangle gives you the answer to those coordinates, because this triangle is sitting right here with this point at the origin. So if I think about where is this point from the origin? Well, it's this far to the right and that far up. Square root of 3 over 2 to the right, 1/2 up. Because these are lengths of the sides. And I didn't mention this yesterday, maybe you should have. If you check out what square root of 3 divided by 2 is decimal-wise, it's 0.866. So think about that. Look how far this is over. That's 1. That's 0.866. That makes good sense. So this is square root of 3 over 2 to the right, 1/2 up. Now, what I'm going to basically do with this triangle is flip it from, this is first quadrant, quadrant 1, 2, 3, and 4. I'm going to flip it from quadrant 1 to quadrant 2 to quadrant 3 to quadrant 4. There's 4 points around this circle that are the mirror image of each other. Or I should say 3 points, because that's the original point, and then there's 3 more. So, you guys, if I take this triangle like it was right here, and flip it straight over the y-axis into the second quadrant, it lines up with that blue point, which is the same triangle. Look, it's square root of 3 over 2 to the left of the origin and 1/2 up. So, negative square root of 3 over 2, comma, 1/2. And you can kind of keep doing that. Now, I'm not going to keep placing it every time. Just kind of showing you. So if I take this and flip it down, we're now talking about that point right there. That point will have the exact same numbers in the exact same order. They're just both negative because it's left square root of 3 over 2, down 1/2. So negative, negative. Negative square root of 3 over 2, negative 1/2. And if I take it one more time from this location, that location, and flip it over here, that gets me that point right there. So you guys, this point right here, back to positive square root of 3 over 2, still negative 1/2. Because it is right of the origin, down. So positive, negative. Now, we're going to use that triangle again, but just a second here. These blue dots that have coordinates next to them now, they're all square root of 3 over 2, 1/2. Just some are negative, some are positive. We need an angle measurement there. So remember when I had this on here originally, the 30 degrees was at the center here. That means this is 30 degrees rotation. From the beginning of the circle up to there is 30 degrees. So I want you to think of this little arc here. Think of it as 30 degrees rotation, because I use that to my advantage over here. So think about that was 30 degrees. Well, that's 30 degrees. That's 180. That's 30 degrees before it. 180 minus 30, that makes this 150 degrees. This one, that's 30 degrees after the 180. So 180 plus 30, or 210 degrees. And then this last one, there's that 30. See, it's 30, 30, 30, 30. That's 30 degrees before 360. So 360 minus 30, 330. So we have those degree measurements there for those dots. So there's a good portion of the unit circle based on the one quadrant. Now I'm going to use that same triangle again, except this time I'm putting the 60. And this time I'm going to put it here, I'm going to leave it here. But the 60 is right there and it lines up with that point. Now, you guys, let's understand something. That's the same triangle. It's got the same two sides, square root of 3 over 2 and 1/2, but they've traded places where they're located. And look at this. Remember, the radius is 1. This is 1/2. That's square root of 3 over 2. Look at this. Halfway to this 1. That makes perfect sense. If that radius is 1, this should be half. So, you guys, this point up here is 1/2 square root of 3 over 2. Because it's from the origin. Everything's from the origin. Half to the right, square root of 3 over 2 up. Now, technically, I'm not going to do this, but I'm going to take this triangle, flip it over, flip it down, flip it across. Quadrant 2, 3, 4, and do that. Obviously, if you can see where this dot is, it's straight across to this dot. This dot will then be negative 1/2 square root of 3 over 2. And again, just look where that dot is. It's halfway up square root of 3 over 2. That would flip straight down to this dot. This one would be negative 1/2 negative square root of 3 over 2. Left and down, both negative. And then it takes back straight across to this one. See, just see where that is. It's still in line with a half for this whole triangle, but it's down instead of up. So this is 1/2 negative square root of 3 over 2. So now we have all the blue dots, and I put them all as blue because they all were in reference to the 30, 60, 90 triangle. What we need next is the angle measurements for all those dots. Now, one thing that's nice about, if you look at what we have now, because see, the only thing missing is the red dots. So if you just look at black and blue only. So black to blue to blue to black, blue, blue, black, blue, blue, black, blue, blue, black. Made it through without screwing that up. Those are all 30 degrees apart. So you can think of this as 30. Add 30 more, 60. So that's 60 degrees. 30 more, 90. Add 30 to that. That's 120. So this is 120 degrees. Add 30 to that, it's 150. We're already good there. Add 30 to that, 180. Add 30 to that, 210. Add 30 to that, 240. And add 30 to that, 270. Add 30 to that, 300. And then add 30 to 300 is 330, and add 30 to 330 and you get 360. We're back to the beginning. So filling those in, once they're all in there together, they form a nice pattern, 30, 30, 30, 30 across, okay? Okay, so lastly, we're getting close here, people. We're going to take the 45, 45 triangle. And I'm only going to place this in one spot. This one's a lot easier to talk about now that we've got the groundwork all kind of set up for us. But there we go. Obviously, the red dot's dead in the middle of 30 and 60. Halfway between 30 and 60 is 45. And that's what all the red dots have something to do with this 45 triangle. Remember the 45 triangle? The two sides here are the same because of the 45 degree angles imply that. Square root of 2 over 2, square root of 2 over 2. Hypotenuse is 1 still, hence that radius. Fits the circle nicely. Now, just from a decimal perspective, you guys, square root of 2 over 2 is about 0.707. So think about how these have a nice rhythm. That this is half, 0.7, 0.866, 1. You see that distance. So these two, let's get the old red marker out here. Square root of 2 over 2, square root of 2 over 2. And that's 45 degrees. So that's nice to feel, because once you get those red numbers into your head, they're just square root of 2 over 2 all the way around. You just got to watch your pluses and minuses. So as this triangle were to flip over here, and I'm kind of cramped for space right there, I'll put the 45 degree, well, that's just goofy, sorry. That's 45 degrees into that quadrant. You can think of this a couple of ways. Think of it as 45 degrees ahead of 90. Or if these two blue dots, which we did a minute ago, were 30 degrees apart, that's right in the middle. This is 15. So if I already know that that's 120, 15 further is 135. So this is 135 degrees. And again, I'm going to kind of squeeze this in here. Let's kind of cut this down to size. That's negative square root of 2 over 2, square root of 2 over 2. Because it's left up. Down here, they're both negative. So negative square root of 2 over 2, negative square root of 2 over 2. Again, you can think of it as 45 degrees after the 180 if we're going around this circle, or I like the 15 idea. That's 210, that's 15 degrees past that, so 225. And then lastly, we got this last red dot over here in the fourth quadrant. Same two numbers, square root of 2 over 2. It's square root of 2 over 2, positive there, because that's to the right. And then negative square root of 2 over 2, because it's down. And again, using the 15 idea, this red dot is 15 degrees after this one. So if that's 300, 15 degrees more is 315. So, here's the deal, folks. In a reasonable amount of time, I think you should be able to fill out this unit circle, what's on it right now, on your own. In the next video, we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about filling, I mean, it was basically from scratch when I had it, but if I bring, just erase all the work that's on here and just leave the dots. What do I have to memorize? Because unfortunately I do have to memorize some stuff. It's not my favorite thing, but I have to do it. And so what do I have to memorize, and then how can I use it to my advantage? You guys, I can't stress to you enough, you should know that square root of 3 over 2 is 0.866. You should have that decimal in your head. Square root of 2 over 2 is 0.707, so 0.7. Obviously 1/2 is 0.5, and so on, because they play a role of where these numbers are. It's not memorizing, there's a pattern of, hey, this is far to the right. This one's only halfway to the right. There's some things to think about and some patterns to get. And the other thing that's not on this circle that I will also add to the video, the next video, we got to talk about the radian measurements here. And how we do that. I have a counting process that I do. I count it out. I don't memorize it anymore like I used to memorize it. Like everything, where is it? Pi over 6, pi over 4, pi over 3, pi over 2. And I learned a better way to count it out. And I can, you'll learn to count fast. So that's coming in the next segment. And we'll see how it goes. Thanks for tuning in, guys.